Yeah.
All right, man, oh man, we back for another episode of Straight Politicking on All You Suckers. And I'm sitting here next to Spider Loc, the most easty, and my boy Munchie B, the mayor. And we apologize for skipping last week, but we're back to bring you some fire. How are my brothers doing?
Abundantly blessed, man. Gratitude is the attitude as always.
Jeter.
You beat me to it. That's a good one.
Jeter.
I'm great, man. Just cooling and shit.
Yeah, hey, when I've been watching Spider on the black box, I was always mesmerized by all the acronyms. And I used to say, I got to get an acronym, but I ain't never got one yet. I still ain't got one.
I'm glad you're thinking of that.
I was thinking of getting me one. I like Jeter.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. Gratitude is definitely that.
I had another one too. What was the other one you got?
Baymack is definitely one.
Here's one.
About your marathon at all costs.
I like when you always say, on all my lokes, loved ones, everything I ever lived in. I lived in.
My daughters.
Say it.
Okay, everything I love. You fucked me up. Yeah. Everything I love and live for. My mama.
Nah, you gotta say it from the top, man.
Yeah, he thinking while you talking.
Yeah, I'm thinking too hard.
Oh yeah, it just comes
Yeah,
when the feeling comes. It just comes.
I got y'all later on in the segment.
But I'm like, yeah, that's a good one right there, because that's a nice.
It's alliteration. I use two of each letter, so it's like my sister and my sons, my
for everything I love and live for.
Yeah, live and live for. Yeah, I got y'all. Salute to that though.
And I have never managed to come up with something over all these years, from doing Gangster Chronicles to doing Streets and Scholars and now Straight Politicking. But we straight politicking on all you suckers, because a lot of you suckers be listening and watching, and y'all be reacting and kind of get it a little bit off. But that's okay. Hopefully next week we'll square some of this away. But let's see. Let's start off with we were talking about this young boxer from L.A. That got shot and killed.
It's my family member
here in L.A. And you have some ties to this person named Malik Birdsong.
King Malik, man, Lil Vibe, man, rest in peace. He about the jungles, West Side, Los Angeles. I do not know any details. I just got the message from a family member shortly before I pulled up. And then when I pulled up, mentioned it to you, then you stumbled across it. I didn't know it was that it had really was reported and all that.
KTLA 5.
Yeah, man.
Here, I'll read a little bit of the article. This is from today. Authorities are looking for the gunman and motive behind the shooting that left a professional boxer dead on Sunday afternoon. The shooting occurred on the 1600 block of 87th Street at 4:50 p.m., according to LAPD. Preliminary investigation revealed that the victim, later identified as Malik Birdsong, and Malik is spelled M-Y-L-I-K, was standing outside a vehicle with his girlfriend inside when another vehicle approached. A dark-colored SUV westbound 87th shot him, according to a spokesperson. They got a photo here of him in the gym looking fit as a fiddle.
Yeah,
looking
zero
like
body fat.
Yeah, looking like somebody you don't want to have to squabble against. And when you're that fit and you're a professional boxer, he's going to win most of them street fights for sure.
And I hope and that didn't play a part into why someone felt like they had to be so violent toward him.
And it says here, Birdsong fell to the ground in the driveway. First responders arrived and rushed him to the nearby hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Police said he suffered 7 gunshot wounds to the torso. Suspects fled the scene.
I wonder what on the east side or the west side when you say 87.
1600 block. Oh, it doesn't say east or west.
Does that register with you though? Because you pretty much.
Well, 1600 block would be somewhere between on the west side would be somewhere between Normandy and Vermont. But the east 1600 east 87. Shoot, you the most easty.
But that's it. If it
don't even go that
too
far.
Many digits. 1600 sounds like too many digits. We like.
No, you can go 1600 east, I believe. But let's see. It doesn't say which
That's
police.
like the 700 block.
You know what? If it was
1600
1600 east, it wouldn't be LAPD. It would be the sheriffs. So I believe that would be the west side. So somewhere between, let me see. I'm saying between Normandy and Vermont.
Right, Normandy and Fig.
It could. Well, Fig would be like 800. So let's look it up real quick to get a precise location, because the KTLA article did not mention east or west, but I'm gonna put west in here, and the intersection would be It would be Dinker. It would be Dinker in 87th if it's west, and let me put east. And if it was the east side, that would be somewhere between May and Compton. May is in 8-9, right? Right by that park.
Washington Park.
So it would be somewhere. It would be a half block from May if it was 1600 East 87th.
I doubt it was the east.
Yeah.
Just based on.
Hey, you was close when you
Plus-
said between Vermont and Normandy, though.
Yeah, and plus I believe.
That's what we got for that.
Do you know if
Century.
if that area by May is policed by the sheriff? I believe that's sheriff.
It is.
Okay, so since this is an LAPD article, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Don't quote me because I could slightly be wrong on this, but we're gonna say this was on the west side on Dinker and 87th, and that's 2 blocks from Normandy. So there you go, and that would be in the A trays actually, if that was if it happened on the west side.
That's a block from Normandy. Well, yeah.
Well, Halldale is 1 block from Normandy, so it goes Halldale, and then it goes to Dinker, going west.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, rest in peace to Malik Birdsong. Do you know how long he's been a professional boxer?
I don't.
Let's look it up. You know, my favorite website for boxing, because boxing is one of my favorite pastimes, is boxrex.com, and we're gonna see if he's in the database here for boxing. And there are a lot of Birdsong, so I'm gonna have to put his full name in here. But then the photo they have of him on the KTLA website is him in the gym. Ain't that something?
Is it this photo?
No, it's another one. Bro was pretty nice. He was 15-1. 15-1.
Damn.
Welterweight.
You know, people ain't out here volunteering to lose. So you have any back and forth with him, that's they go-tos to bust, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wonder if all that played a part, or if it was like you said earlier, mistaken identity, wrong place, wrong time.
A random act.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's unfortunate. He had a pretty he had 17 fights. He was 15-1 with one. I think that's a draw.
1 draw, 1 knockout, 15 W's.
10. He got 10 knockouts out of them 15 wins. And his one loss was he got KO'd once, but that's okay. 15-1. It looked like he had a lot going for himself. Once you get to 20-1, you start now getting on that level. You start getting to that next level. Although we do know somebody that was like 20-1 and pretty much never got to no level.
I don't know. I thought you was gonna bring that.
The first thing I remember is this dude coming on the platform talking about I'm 21-1 and I'm at the top of this
Boxing game.
Yeah, top of the boxing game.
I wouldn't even be entertaining this conversation, but the big goofy nigga spoke on me the other day, man, out of nowhere, man. Big goofy ass. That's crazy.
But most of the time when you are 20-1, you are at the top, you know.
He said I got my feet whipped in the projects. You big goofy ass nigga. Many times we seen you get whooped in the ring. He gonna say, "Oh, that was a stage fight for 100,000." Goofy.
All right, rest in peace to Malik, and unfortunately, somebody didn't want to go toe to toe with him, and getting shot 7 times is unfortunate. I hope he
What can you hope?
rest easy. I hope he rest easy, and we just pray for his family and loved ones.
And the fact that the female was present, all type of questions run through my mind, man.
Well, we don't want to get into no conspiracies. We always blaming the chick that was present.
Nah, yeah,
when
that's
the brother gets killed.
And condolences her way since
Yeah.
she's supposedly a loved one.
Yeah. All right. I wanted to move on to this case out in St. Louis, Missouri. I think, Munchie, you put me onto this a few days ago. Marcellus Williams. I didn't know a whole lot about it, but I was very surprised and shocked to learn these 2 facts. One of them was that the prosecutor, not the prosecutor, but a prosecutor, was considering the legitimacy of the case when he was found guilty of this murder back in the 90s. And the family of the victim had a lot of questions on Marcellus's guilt.
Right. That is, they want anybody just to go down for it. They want real justice. You know what I'm saying? So when the family say they didn't want him to die or whatever, and then you got the prosecution, but the higher circuit court and then the governor, like whatever it is, what it is, let's toe up.
I'm not sure. Do we have a clip for the Marcellus Williams one?
And in just the last hour, Missouri executed a death row inmate named Marcellus Williams by lethal injection. Now, Williams was put to death over the 1998 murder of newspaper reporter Felicia Gale, and the execution coming hours after the U.S. Supreme Court denied a stay of execution just a day after the state's governor and the Supreme Court both denied clemency to Williams as well. And all this after a prosecutor from the original trial said Williams was innocent, claiming no evidence actually tied him to the crime. Williams' execution was one of 5 scheduled in the course of a week across the country, the first one being Freddie Owens in South Carolina this past Friday. NBC's Yasmin Vasugian has been following this story. Yasmin, can you tell us the latest here?
That's right, Gotti. The third in Missouri this year, the 100th execution in the state since executions were reinstated back in 1989. 5, by the way, in this week alone across the country. We're talking about Missouri, in which Mr. Williams was executed just a couple of hours ago by lethal injection. Alabama as well, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas. The timing of it all, right? You ask, why are all 5 of these executions happening in this week alone, is really just happenstance in the decision-making process by some of these kind of state Supreme Courts. I will say, though, the argument that was being made by Mr. Williams' attorneys to the Supreme Court to, in fact, stay this execution was waiting to a decision till a decision was made by a similar case as they saw it that was going to be argued in front of the U.S. Supreme Court on October 9th. A statement that was made by the Innocence Project saying this, and I quote, "This closely resembles that of Richard Glossop, who remains on death row in Oklahoma because the state court similarly refused to accept the state's confession of error." If you remember just yesterday, the state...
But it's the original prosecutor. I thought it was just a current prosecutor.
That makes it even more of a statement.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
When the prosecutor that put you there saying, "Hey, I think we might have made some mistakes," but you know, the Supreme Court was this? I'm not sure if this is the U.S. Supreme Court or was this the Missouri State Supreme Court. I might have missed that.
Sometimes you start discussing things from your level of understanding.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, we ain't quite there. To
me, the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court.
Well, every state has a Supreme Court.
You educate me.
But then there's the United States Supreme Court, which is appointed by the president.
The Supreme of the Supreme.
Yeah, and I was going to bring up a point that Donald Trump has appointed 3 of the 9 people that are on the U.S. Supreme Court, which is very unusual for a one-term president. In just his 4 years, I believe he appointed 3. So that's how abortion got overturned. I don't want to get into no abortion debate with y'all, brothers. But abortion has been legal since 1972.
That's what Roe versus Wade is?
Yeah, Roe versus Wade got overturned because Trump was able to appoint 3 judges. And
that's why they don't want him back.
Man, who don't want him back in, though? All our people be...
Those that don't. Oh,
yeah, I think I'm the minority, it seemed like. But then I'm confused with this woman because she the police. So I don't think I'm going to vote this go around.
I'm trying to figure out if this was the Supreme Court of the United States or the Supreme Court of Missouri, and I just can't figure it out. But, hey, nevertheless, it doesn't even matter because they already executed the dude.
You can't overturn death. He gone. You know what I'm saying?
Why you think, in light of the prosecutors speaking up and the family of the victim being in support of him remaining alive, why do you think the state of Missouri was so committed to following through with that decision?
I couldn't even call it because the governor of Missouri has the power to say, let's at least stay it. Let's stay it for a few weeks, months, and look into it. And I don't know who's the governor of Missouri because he's
Pontius Pilate.
We're going back to Jesus Christ, huh? Because he could have easily just picked up the phone call and said, "All right, Michael Parson, Republican Party."
All that last name sounds so familiar.
Parson.
They're going to Cowboys.
Okay.
So he obviously did not see what the prosecutor was saying. And, hey, they got 3 executions in Missouri just recently. So obviously the governor is not trying to hold back.
When I first ran across the story, they said 2. So I wonder if somebody got executed right after him.
But does that, remember the off-camera conversation we had earlier about coincidence? Or do you think that's a numerical pattern kicking in?
Well, they got 5 executions in 1 week.
Do you think that's coincidence?
I do, because there's no way states could
I tend to
schedule executions to happen in the same week.
I think our producer was saying there was a cosmic energy aligning the numbers numerically.
No, I don't think these 5 executions were planned to happen the way they happened.
I tend to agree.
You know, California hasn't had an execution since 2006.
Haven't we just we just dismantled death row, right? There's no longer a death row. Right?
No, there's no longer a physical death row.
Oh,
but they're still punished to be executed.
sentenced to death.
Yeah, they're still sentenced to death. They just be able to walk on general population now.
Wow.
We ain't got no way to, but they don't have a way to put them to bed. So when they come up with another method, and they go get back to the death row thing, right?
Well, that's because Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, he's against the death penalty.
Okay.
So he's been the governor for I don't know how many years. So we're not ever going to get an execution under his watch.
He's alive.
Yeah, while he's still the governor, it ain't going to happen.
So they killed the Crip and then let him take over.
Yeah, they killed who was the governor? I believe that was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
which was bizarre because Arnold and Tookie crossed paths.
Yeah,
I don't know if they buffed together.
Well, I heard.
I heard, but they crossed paths at some point at Venice Beach.
That's deep.
So that was kind of unique that the governor he didn't want to stay it either. He was like, I don't care.
You sure he was at the time governor?
I'm 100% sure.
He was.
I heard people say they was mad at him.
I went to San Quentin when he got executed. I actually tried to be a media representative to witness the execution because they allow like 10 people from the media to be there and to watch it. So I applied for it and I didn't get in.
I'm glad.
Why?
Why would you see that?
I want to. Hey, if you doing media work, you want to experience all levels of it.
That's deep, bro. That's deep.
I also want to be an embedded reporter in a war.
Look, I was just finna try to throw you for a loop and say that.
You throw on a vest, you throw on that bulletproof vest, that helmet, and you stay behind the soldiers.
Your wife wouldn't let you do it, bro.
Nah, just a few things I did she didn't want me to do. I went to Hurricane Katrina in 2005. She didn't want me to go. She was pregnant with my son who just turned 19.
Happy birthday.
I said, I'll be back before. Look, Hurricane Katrina was early September. My son was born on September 30th. I got back.
Right in time.
Right, like a week before he was born, a week or two before he was born. I wasn't out. So
you have the personality for one of them guys I can see close to the hurricane, close to the war, trying to give the report and shit. I can see you doing that.
I went straight in there. But, I wanted to witness an execution. And why not? Why not?
You're coming across extremely morbid, bro. Just want you to know that.
But you have to see what the state is doing. You got to be able to say, to be able to eloquently speak against or for something, you're in a better position if you've witnessed it.
Well, I saw Mr. Williams, Marcellus Williams' son, speak out. I guess he witnessed his father going to the chamber. Mm-hmm. And he said he was proud of the way he held it up. He said he didn't do no crying, begging, pleading. He said he did a little, jerking, but that was it. And he as a man was proud of the way his father took this last moment.
Yeah, I never applied again because California hasn't had another execution. Well, actually, they executed one more guy a month later, and then that was it.
Who was that guy?
It was some white guy. Tookie got executed in December of 2005, and then they executed an older white guy in January of 2006. And how many years ago has that been? That's the last one. So we're going on 18 years without an execution.
Wow.
With 700 people, though, on death row.
That's deep.
And we got about 4 or 5 gang members that are right in line to be next.
So a couple of my homies, I think.
Like Lil Fee, if we were still doing executions, Lil Fee would have already got executed. I believe Keith Fudge, Ace Capone from VNG would have got executed. I believe the 2 brothers from Raymond Avenue Crip, Evil and Tretch would have been executed, but because of this 18 years,
It's about our boy from Park Village.
Goldie.
I don't remember what year. I'm thinking of all the early 80s cases, 83, 84.
That's not that.
85. All those guys from 83, 84, 85 would have got executed. Tookie was from 81.
So that's why you.
Okay. Yeah. So it's all it's a line, and you get executed according to that line, chronological line. So everyone from 83, 84, 85, that's Lil Fee, that's Keith Fudge, Ace Capone, that's Tretch and Evil. they would have all been executed by now.
Yes, I remember being young, come up in the game, and I used to just say randomly, man, before I do life, man, I'd rather do death. Do you believe those who have not been executed are grateful, or do they feel like their punishment has been extended?
No, they're grateful, because I used to speak to some of these guys personally, and they used to try to work on their appeals and figure out loopholes and
people don't know when you're on death row, you get more shots at appeals, and you got people that just want to take like your case.
Innocence projects and all that.
yeah, and you got automatic appeals and
Right.
so I haven't met all the brothers on death row, but I can imagine some of them don't care. But the ones that I've actually had a chance to communicate with and talk to and meet some of the lawyers, they be fighting for their lives. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they trying to come home. Some of these guys are trying to come home.
They're trying to beat the clock.
Yeah, so I know that the two guys from '60s that was on death row are very thankful that they're on the main line now. That's the two other defendants from Lil Fee's case.
Yeah, you can't tell many people in the system nothing about Newsom. They love that fool.
Yeah, I believe Newsom's going to be the president one day. You know, after he finishes his last term as governor, he's probably going to run for president down in the future.
You think Candace Owens got action at being president in the future?
Nah, she got no political experience. She's just a talking head,
Guess what?
and she's young.
The Terminator didn't have no political experience.
Neither did Trump.
Trump, he was a reality star.
Yeah,
Exactly. She has knowledge of the field, and she has momentum.
we're in a new era where it's possible.
Anything's possible.
Like I think I mentioned Jesse Ventura, who was a wrestler. He became governor of Minnesota. You know, no experience. So we could think of we can come up with a short list of no experience politicians, but they usually started somewhere before the presidency.
I mean,
Like Trump, he's been a mogul.
what about Sean?
Well, we can't count beliefs.
Because they politics different.
Yeah, we can't count beliefs.
And Candace is making a name and a presence for herself. She was the most hated amongst our people for the last 5 years, based on things she was saying. But I think outside of those positions she takes, almost every other political position I've heard her take is something that I agree with.
Well, I just watched a clip of her show. She's trying to prove that Kamala Harris is not black
I saw that.
and that she doesn't have half Jamaican side to her, because there's a mistake in her book about this lady that's supposedly her grandmother that's not her grandmother, and she wants Kamala to prove that she's really black.
Who wanted to do this?
Candace Owens.
You know, they was just coming down on Janet Jackson for saying something about that.
And it kind of reminds me of when they were trying to prove that Barack Obama wasn't born in the United States, and where Trump was like, show your birth certificate that you was born in Hawaii.
I think she might be just tad bit too pro-Trump.
And there's a picture of Kamala when she was like 20 years old with this black woman that's supposed to be her grandmother. And Candace uncovered that there's some flaws in her story.
I've heard some of that.
But I don't blame Kamala. Like, I do a lot of genealogy on my own family. I look at pictures. I even ask my mom, okay, that's my granduncle right there, but who are these other people? My mom don't remember. So I have to do the digging and figure out who these relatives are. People are told all the time, oh, this is your uncle, this is your granny, this is your granny's sister, this is your granny's brother, and people make mistakes. I don't think Kamala wrote a book and lied about her family from Jamaica. That's what Candace is trying to say. She lied about it. Is she really Jamaican? Is she really black? Who are these people? Where did your blackness come from? Kamala, that's what she on.
In context, do you believe she is out of nowhere while she's been on this campaign representing herself as more black than she has in the past?
Yeah.
At least you're being fair,
Yeah.
okay?
I remember when Hillary, she went to a black church and started talking black.
They can't help it.
No, you can't. You know, I ain't hating on that. You're just trying to get votes.
Yeah, Karen Civil was helping Hillary with her campaign.
Yeah.
I know in my personal life, if I'm talking to a Paisa or somebody from the Caribbean or Jamaica, anybody like that, and I'm friendly with them, I naturally tend to try to mimic the way they talk while we talk. It's just like a habit I have.
Hey, when I'm in New York and I'm around New Yorkers, I talk
too.
more New York.
Yeah, that too.
You
play
just
with
did it right
that
now.
shit.
You funny.
Yeah, you
I
did.
talk more New York when I'm in New York around New Yorkers.
I do it playfully, but I do too. I say word up. I say all that just because I'm talking to y'all. Yeah.
And look, when I first moved to LA, when I was like 11, I used to get made fun of how I talked. So I used to go home and I used to say, Pop, they teasing me at school by the way I talk.
Because we don't say sneakers, we say shoes.
Exactly. And so I started realizing I got to stop talking this way. I got to listen to these guys and pick up what they saying. What's a mark? What's a mark? I used to hear this at John Burrow, 7th grade. He a mark. He a mark. He a mark. Hey, what is a mark? Can you tell me what a mark is? Oh. And then I'm starting to say, you a mark, I'm blending in. Yeah. I remember there was a little game, a gambling game I had never heard of called Get Like Me, 7th grade.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is Get Like Me? So I'm learning the LA lingo because I want to be accepted. So at a certain point, I started to reject my New York and embrace LA. So, but when I go to New York, I'm New York. When I'm in LA, I'm in LA.
It might be something you need to produce, some type of body of work to show the cultures of both sides. And
hey, there was a dude doing a documentary about balancing different racial identities when you're around different people, because I'm also Puerto Rican when I'm around Puerto Rican people.
I can imagine.
Which I don't get to be around in LA, but when I'm around them, I become a whole nother person.
So being Puerto Rican, Latino, does that make you feel any connection to the Latino Mexicans here in Los Angeles?
Very little. Not my fault, more them. I got some Mexican brothers that embrace me, but unfortunately, because I'm dark, and this is real, because I'm dark, a lot of Mexicans don't embrace Dominicans and Puerto Ricans as them, because there are more black Latinos in the Caribbean than there are in Mexico. There's a lot of European intermingling. Them Europeans went down to Mexico and did their thing, So that's why a lot of Mexicans is fair skinned. But there are some black Mexicans down in the southern part of Mexico that even Mexico don't even want to acknowledge. It's 1 million black Mexicans that Mexico don't even want to acknowledge.
They go through the same thing that blacks go through in other regions. It's like colorism is a real thing.
But I got a few Mexicans that they don't trip on that, but a lot of them do, surprisingly.
Do you speak Spanish?
Not as fluent as I should be, but when I'm in the island, boy, it start coming back. Yeah,
that's right.
And if you're there for like 6 months straight, that's all you need. That's all you need. I've never been there for 6 months straight, but yeah. So there was a guy doing a book. He wanted to figure out dark Puerto Ricans that can hang out with black Americans, but then you can hang out with Latinos. And how do you balance these two different worlds? I have a brother from here in LA that saw me with some Mexicans one day. He said, "Alex, it ain't fair. You hang out with us, and we think we accept you as one of us, and then I see you over there with them, and they accepting you."
That's the both worlds, dual citizenship.
Yeah, but
you should be able to be probably pretty instrumental in bridging gaps and mediations and type.
Hey, I tried to. It goes back to when I was trying to get that truce with the 18th streets, and I was close. I was close. There's only a few little barriers I had, and then unfortunately some people died, and it just and then COVID hit, and then it kind of just took a back burner.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, but
I believe they was hearing you out, not really entertaining you though. We done had this little back and forth about.
Yeah, no, I believe it was going to get entertained at some point, because a lot of these OGs don't want to see their sons getting shot and popped by 18th Street. That was my strongest argument is, look, we ain't 20 years old out here in the streets banging. We in our 40s and 50s, and our kids our kids ain't banging, but they still walking these streets. Do you want your kid to get shot because he looked like a banger?
That's the message that has to go out in a blanket to all these situations.
When you say that in a room full of 40 and 50-year-olds,
it
resonates.
Like,
yeah.
I don't even like to see, I hate to admit it, I don't even like to see my boys on the football field. I swear to God, if they not finna get a big old whoop wop out of it, I'm so nervous now. I'm old, bro. I see my boys out there, I'm like, motherfuckers get broke up out there, bro.
I deliberately kept my kids off a football field.
I understand.
I never wanted them to play football.
I definitely understand, bro. It's a brutal situation.
I took my kids to the golf course. They all got great swings.
Wise man.
Soccer was a little brutal. I was surprised. I'd let them do soccer for 1 or 2 years, and I say, nah. They was getting concussions and getting kicked, and my son bought a motorcycle against my will, but he's 20 years old, so what can I do?
Nephew.
Can't stop a 20-year-old kid
out there.
Because when you was 20, Spider, did anybody stop you from doing what you wanted to do?
That's how I developed my style of parenting.
Yeah.
Every time I think I want to get at my kids and do this, I refer to how I used to think about parenting. And I started adjusting my approach based on how I thought. Because I think a lot of time as parents, we deceive ourselves at the amount of influence we believe we have at each moment. And I think sometimes you gotta, I've learned to like, we are humans. Our children are less of a possession than we imagine them to be at times.
And I know for a fact nobody was telling Munchie B what to do when he was 20 years old.
I think Munchie still feel like
That's why I can't really like agree with like think back how he. I don't know, but I used to look at me like your friend is trying to give you some good advice though, because I was a young parent and we still like close in age right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So don't.
But I'm sure when you was 20, you did what Munchie B wanted to do.
15, 16, I was doing what I wanted to do.
Exactly.
So I was never like, oh, what my mom, my daddy said. So that never was it. So I don't never try to trick myself and think that's what my kids are going through when they make decisions. Even though they might, I don't assume it.
And look, my son got into a motorcycle accident.
You lying. Yeah. How recently?
Like gotta be recent.
A week and a half ago. Wow. The car hit him. His bike is currently not even functioning right now. He got off with small abrasions.
And He's still interested in the sport?
Yeah, he already ordered all the parts for his bike. He's about to start fixing his bike back. And he said it's not going to stop him from wanting to be a motorcyclist.
Was he not at fault?
It was the car that hit him was at fault.
Hey, but
And here's the problem. Before you say what you say, Munchie, my son was splicing lanes, which is legal in California.
I never understood why, but yeah.
I'm shocked that California has not banned lane splitting. Because
it's
banned in many states.
The bikers do this. They have to do this in order to do it, to navigate it. They lean.
What if someone opens up a door?
No, but cars be in standstill traffic. How you gonna be in standstill traffic on a motorcycle? So you gotta allow them to do that.
Yeah, but it's still dangerous because you're driving all the way to the top front of the intersection.
No, when you in standstill, they can have their feet.
Yeah, but
it's still lane splitting.
But you know what? There's another thing about motorcycles in general on these highways. If it's illegal to drive an automobile without a seatbelt because of safety, how can a motorcycle be safety? How can it be safe at all?
It's definitely, but most motorcycle accidents happen by fault of the car, not the motorcycle.
That's why I feel for nephew so much. I had a DUI and they took me to the morgue, the LA morgue, as a part of my for a ham class. And when I went to the morgue, not only did they show us a lot of results of accidents that happened because of intoxication, they showed us a lot of accidents that happened because of carelessness and just speed. And motorcycles, they showed a lot of graphic content that's just rushing my brain right now.
Well, the accident my son had was a result of him lane splitting and then a car making a turn that didn't see him because he lane split.
It's easy to be.
Yeah, that can happen. That can happen.
So even though it was the car's fault, he didn't see him because he was lane splitting between cars.
And he has a helmet on, so your peripheral is kind of compromised.
And I think it should be illegal. Here, let me just read this real quick. Lane splitting by motorcyclists is legal in California. Intentional blocking or impeding a motorcyclist in a way that could cause harm to the rider is illegal. Opening a vehicle door to impede a motorcyclist is illegal. But many states, it's illegal to lane split.
Makes sense.
You got to sit in traffic like everybody else.
That makes sense.
But California definitely has it. My son takes advantage of it, and boom, it caused his first accident that he had.
I felt like so ironic because the last time I saw you, I saw him and he was looking like Knight Rider, and I wasn't sure if it was him. I said, "Was that your boy?" You like, "Yeah, he will," and that happened since then.
Yeah.
Wow,
that happened since. It probably happened like maybe a few days after that. But
about to say when they riding these bikes, it be more of it's a passion, you know what I'm saying? Because this ain't they everyday vehicle, so they put they all into this bike and they ain't gonna give it up that easy.
No, they're not. I remember having FG on Streets and Scholars. He bought him a Harley, and he says it's a very exhilarating feeling when you're out there on the highway and you riding. There's a level of like freedom that you feel when you're on that bike doing whatever 60, 65, 70. That nothing else brings you that feeling.
And I can imagine, and I just want to shout out my pops because I remember he was a bike motorcycle enthusiast. But once I started, I never got to ride on the back of his bike. I was so little, I was still riding on the front where but when he saw how much I started liking motorcycles, he gave them up just because he didn't want me to. I understand why, and I'm so clumsy. One of my phrases I often use is, "That's why I don't ride motorcycles." Every time I do something clumsy, I say, "That's why I don't ride motorcycles," because I know it's gonna be a wrap.
All right, man. Let's I want to move on to this Kendrick Lamar mural, since we were talking about Latinos and the Mexicanos here in L.A. We did a whole little segment on the defacing of the mural, and the main point that I brought up was that I was surprised that not too many Latino-based channels had spoke on it. And since then, well, American Cholo said he did a video about it previously. I was unaware. And then Dubs did a video about it. 2 Latinos. Dubs is from the Santa Barbara area. American Cholo is from the North Hollywood area of L.A. County.
Is Santa Barbara considered Northern California?
Yeah, no. That's still Southern California. Okay. Yeah, Santa Barbara is Southern California, but it's north of us. I believe Ventura County. Yeah, it's the next county above us.
Okay.
Going northwest.
A few hours though.
You can get to Ventura in 1 hour from here on the 101. Yeah, 1 hour to Ventura, and I believe he is from what city did I say he was from?
Ventura,
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara. You can get. I know. I used to drive up to Goleta, which is the college portion of the school in Santa Barbara. I think I used to get up to Goleta in about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes when I was in my college days. But yeah, we have Dubs and American Cholo have both spoke about this topic of the mural being defaced by, I don't want to say an individual. We're gonna hear a clip where individuals emphasized. I'm gonna say it's defaced by Tortilla Flats because somebody was behind the camera, somebody was writing the graffiti, somebody posted it on the internet, and it had to be signed off by multiple people before it got to our eyeballs.
Whether it was signed off or not, that action represents the whole
It does.
community.
It represents a collective.
Yeah.
And
What you mean signed off? You think people get permission to go tag?
well, not necessarily permission, but
not in particular.
But when homeboy behind the camera and homeboy with the spray can went back to wherever they went back to, everybody was high-fiving and laughing and promoting and
it potentially
and,
was
and
a
approving
conversation about should we or should we not post it.
Yeah.
Potentially there was a conversation. Yeah, it could have been.
So before we get into the conversation about it, we're going to play American Cholo's clip first and hear what he had to say about it.
I saw some post out there that what's the name? My boy Alex Alonso from StreetTV was saying why nobody, no raza podcasters or anybody has spoke on it. I actually made a video about a week ago, and my boy, not BC, not Black Chris, but the other Chris, which is actually Black Chris,
real Black Chris.
My boy Chris. That'll work right there. That'll work right there.
Twice as long. It's been 2 years. I still can't get it
so
done.
as you can see, so now I can clip this one, right?
Okay, cool.
Or somebody. This is the video of the guy crossing out the mural, hitting up his hood, and I'm actually surprised that Alex Alonso made the comparison of us not speaking about this and saying somehow, some way that it's kind of a racial thing. When Alex Alonso, you my boy Alex, but you're the gang expert, homie, right? You're the gang expert that goes and testifies certain cases and tells people exactly what it is. And when it comes to this kind of situation, it's gangbanging 101, homie. It's a hood that don't get along with the Pyrus over there.
Read the wall.
And read the writing on the wall, literally, bro.
Fucking A,
And what they're saying, pretty much, they're saying F them and we want the smoke, homie.
Yeah, this is my spot. What the fuck you putting shit up here for?
This is what they're doing.
Yeah.
It has zero to do with racial lines and for us to be like, oh, look at those guys. It would be like me picking a video of, let's say, the guy who just beat up the flower guy and the Cuban guy. Look, it's a black guy beating up the flower guy. You guys should speak on it. Like, nah, bro. At some point, especially when it comes to this is gangbanging, homie. This is gangbanging. The same thing happened when somebody went to Nipsey Hussle's
That's what I
right,
was gonna
and they
bring up the
crossed
same-
it
yep,
out
same
and did
shit,
that.
yep.
It's gangbanging. Now, if the guys would have put like NK and try to refer,
Exactly.
then yeah,
Exactly.
homie, you're tripping. Not,
Which,
not,
yo, that's part of this process of writing. Fool, if I wanted to say that, I would have said
right.
that on this wall, G.
This is very simple, homie. Let me
Territory.
Okay, I believe he was talking to his co-host on his show. I'm not sure if that was Boo Boo because they didn't show. I'm not sure if they cut to him, but I don't know if you guys want to react to that or do you want to play the Dubs clip first, in addition, and then start talking about it.
You dry this shit, so do your thing.
Yeah,
So
we should let the other clip run then just tackle both.
Let's also.
But I will say this:
yeah,
we do get a lot of reaction from the Latino Hispanic blogosphere when it seems a black gang member does something that they feel like is offensive to the Hispanic community. So they do react to that, and we have seen our people hold certain individuals accountable.
with the Hoover situation,
Exactly.
with Jap 5,
Exactly.
with the elote lady,
Elote corn lady,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, we'll go. We'll touch back on that, but let's play. We're gonna play. Dubs did it. Let me just set this up. Dubs did a video that was about 14 minutes long, so we're not gonna play the whole clip. But I want people. I don't want to take him out of context. So for those who want to hear the entire video, you got to go to Dub's channel to hear the whole 14 minutes. But we're gonna play the first couple minutes of his video here.
Kendrick Lamar's mural was vandalized in Compton. Was this racially motivated? What's cracking, everybody? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So it's been about a week, I think, where I've been asked by a few people in the comment section, when are you going to speak on the Kendrick Lamar mural being defaced? Why ain't you speaking on it? And honestly, this morning, I finally remembered to go look for it. And as you can see right here, I'm going to let it play. It's a video of one individual who is writing his neighborhood, his barrio, on the mural, crossing out the eyes, crossing out the mural, defacing. He's definitely defacing the mural. And then the video ends. There's no racial slurs. He didn't specify what hood he's dissing. My understanding is Kendrick Lamar is not a gang member. However, his family is. They are Pyrus in Compton. Shout out to the Flats. Shout out to the Pyrus. But I don't know what I was supposed to get out of seeing that. I see an individual who's defacing something. I don't know how old this individual is, but I know that tagging up your barrio is a normal thing. And it would seem to me as if the individual who's doing this is trying to be as disrespectful as possible, but he's not being racial. And I felt like, and I feel like in the comments when they say, well, why aren't you speaking on the defacing? They're taking it as a racial thing. Nowhere in there is there a racial slur.
All right, I think that's enough of Dubs.
So
I just want to remind everyone, I'm not going to play the whole 14-minute clip, but go to Dub's channel if you're interested. I think we kind of get the point that Dubs was making in the first couple of minutes. So what's y'all take on their reaction? And I'm not sure if Dubs was reacting to me. American Cholo definitely made it clear he was reacting to what we did on Straight Politicking on a previous episode. But I believe that it's partially influenced by some of the stuff that came out in our episode. But I don't recall if I said if it was racial.
We never said that.
I don't think, yeah. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop a clip of what we said on that episode of Straight Politicking to see if I did say something along those lines. But Munchie, you're clear you didn't say anything of that sort.
Mm-mm.
So what's y'all take on this? We got two guys that have spoke on it since that episode dropped.
I think I've been heavily vocal so far. I'm gonna let the mayor break bread first.
Man, Spider did some content that ain't came out.
Got you.
we did some content that ain't came out, and how he used the Nipsey Hussle mural as an example, and I basically told Spider like his gangbanging is a disrespectful sport. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't nothing personal with Nipsey. It was a more of a 60 disrespect thing because Nipsey have murals in Inglewood that nobody touched. Them individuals went over there on Slauson and Crenshaw in the heart of their hood to be disrespectful to the 60s and do what they did. It feels like a Nipsey thing. We would have did the mural that's right here up on our nose. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm kind of disappointed because Alex a gang expert. But if you know, then you know in Compton the T-Flags, they got a reputation for being racial. So I can see why somebody say it was racially, you know what I'm saying, influenced because everybody know that Compton T-Flags is racist. They NK, you know what I'm saying? But me personally, I'm just being optimistic when I'm saying both sides. But I think it's gang banging. Like, I think he tagging. That's what gangbangers do, especially Hispanics. They let a grab that spray can, and you know he got an affiliation with the Pyros. It's banging, but he said it's in there. He said something like, I don't think that Miro's in the T-Flash though.
But Kendrick don't gangbang.
Affiliate.
So
I'm just putting myself in the same mind. Cause I don't know how old them dudes was, but shit, man.
But definitely, whether it's not the intentions were racial or like saying I don't like blacks or I'm doing this because of blacks, if that wasn't the intention, it definitely was an act that could spark racial tension as a result.
Absolutely.
And I think the responsibility of the bloggers that have established themselves as grown men on the Latino side, seeing this, expressing that would be what we perhaps would assume you individuals would have done. Not that the intentions of the individual was trying to start something racial, but just recognizing the potential of racial collisions as a result. That's all.
Yeah, and it makes it difficult for me to argue with someone like Tariq Nasheed saying that, hey, we have potential for black-brown coalition building in Los Angeles, but when you see something like this, and then you see a lack of response from La Raza, from the Mexicans, Tariq is absolutely right.
Just think about how loud even though it was one individual, look how loud the message was when they felt left out at the Kendrick pop-out thing. That was a wave well felt online. We knew that there was a Latino expression of we felt we weren't included. Now, when this racial issue in Compton pops up, Kendrick's name is still involved, I don't see anybody even showing interest in the subject to even have the conversation until you mentioned it, and we got this response. I don't even see anybody reacting to it at all.
But Munchie believes it's gangbanging. I don't believe it's gangbanging because I personally don't look at Kendrick Lamar as a Pyru. Hey, maybe he's affiliated. Maybe he grew up over there. I don't know, but I know his public persona. He never says Pyru in any song.
I said that before.
Okay, let me just finish this part.
Right,
he don't gangbang in any songs. He don't claim Pyru. He don't represent Pyru. So I think he is an unfortunate target to now say it's a Pyru thing. So let's cross out Kendrick Lamar. I think he's a non-affiliate, and it's different from an A-Trade defacing Nipsey Hussle mural.
Yeah, it's just like saying, hey, you walking home from school, you don't bang, but your big brother from over there, and I know you a little kid and you a square, so I'm gonna kick you in your ass. Go tell your brother I said that and fuck his hood. That's the equivalent of defacing a non-affiliate who has ties to a gang.
And also, I don't know how widespread Tortilla Flats beef is with the Pyrus. I do know they write PK, huh?
They write both.
PK, CK, NK.
Okay, because it started off in 98. It was just Tortilla Flats and Fruittown. Then it went from Tortilla Flats to Treetop.
TF versus FT. That's D. Go ahead.
And then I guess it spread to the other Pyrus in the area. And let me also say that Tortilla Flats is probably one of the most known anti-black gangs. And I'm going to post some photos of N Killer, and they'll spell out the word Nigger killer. So for I don't know who said it. Did Dub say there was nothing racially stated?
He's way in Santa Barbara, so his perspective is probably slightly off.
Bro did over 20 years in the penitentiary. He
Who
knows.
from Santa Barbara?
Dubs. He knows what's up.
He knows what's up.
You know what's up. Nobody that's spent over 20 years in the penitentiary can't say who are the NK Southsider gangs. And Tortilla Flats and CV7 for Compton, Tortilla Flats and CV70 are blatant NK gangs.
I can contest to that. I agree.
And they put this on the walls
all the time.
We got photos of this. It's well documented. There's even videos. I don't even go back to MySpace. There were profiles of Tortilla Flats and CV70 guys putting NIGGERK in their profiles. Nothing's changed, right? It hasn't gotten better. In fact, it's gotten worse. There are more Pyru beefs with Tortilla Flats. It just started off with
All of them.
Yeah, now it's all of them.
I
Started off with one set.
I believe the Pyrus coming together and hugging on each other's brothers is heavily. I think that played a part in the whole over shit. It's like,
Yeah,
I think people need to pay attention in general, not to be anti any group. When you realize that you have an enemy that looks at you as an enemy, no matter where you from, Crip or Blood, because you one of us, we gotta start paying attention, y'all.
And I also didn't like the way I said this earlier, but we got to hear the clip of Dubs. It was Dubs that says an individual. It's not one person, Dubs.
When you're talking
This is
about
a collective.
yeah, when you're talking about collectives and you separate one person as an individual, you obviously saying everyone doesn't support that. Then there's actions to show that, prove it, disciplines, things of that nature. If it's just an individual doing something that you don't support, then that individual is supposed to be held accountable.
And then we know that just from the video, there's at least two people involved. There's a camera person, there's the writer, and they brought a homie to post up doing.
And they probably was huffing paint.
Yeah, you gotta take in consideration their reputation for being NK. Yeah, you gotta take that, and then you can't use the Nipsey thing as a comparison because those are two black groups. So of course it's gang banging. Like even when Snoop Dogg thing got defaced in Inglewood on the side of his store, that was gang banging. So that's like apples and oranges, bro. You can't really compare the two.
Yeah, and I also want to emphasize not all Mexican gang, black gang beef has reached the point of racial animosity. But there are quite a few, even in Long Beach. That has clearly reached the level of racial animosity. The Mexicans in Long Beach, the North Sides, what is it? North Side Longo, West Side Longo, and East Side Longo. They make it clear they don't like black people. Yeah. 205th Street Torrance.
204.
I'm sorry, 204. They make it clear they don't like black people. They don't even like non-gang members, black people in 204. Most of the black victims in 204 weren't even in gangs. So they took it to the next level. There are no black gangs in the 204 area in Torrance.
Right.
So I think they're downplaying, like you said, Spider, the racial tension that it also can create and push. And I was just hoping that some Latinos would say, hey, Kendrick, he should be considered out of bounds, to deface the Kendrick mural.
I recently was at American Cholo's podcast, and I had an experience that I didn't quite appreciate. Everybody was aware of it. He recently came back to the Black Box, and we did a repeat. Some technical difficulties is yet to be released. Hopefully, we can still get it. Some audio issues, but I really, after the experience I had on his platform, to him coming to my platform, I would have never expected him to be so dismissive of the idea that we would appreciate a word from you towards your folks in some type of way of acknowledging that Kendrick's mural didn't deserve that, regardless if it's just gang banging. We're not promoting gang banging at its purest core.
Because that means you're promoting it to a certain degree.
Okay, because they're gang banging.
It's gang banging. Hey,
yeah, we're trying to be anti gang banging at this point in our lives as public figures. So nobody's here supporting gang banging, even though we are aware of what it is.
And it also impacts any sort of black-brown relations that could come in Los Angeles. I'm a believer that we can have a black-brown coalition and relations, but someone like Tariq Nasheed says it absolutely can't happen because Mexicans don't like blacks. And so when you see something like this, you almost got to agree with Tariq. I want to disagree with Tariq and say, no, we can bridge the gap and create positive coalitions. But when y'all Mexicans, Latinos in LA ain't speaking against this, then Tariq is absolutely right.
And then Lefty
Speaking
Gunplay
against it or addressing it. They ain't gotta agree. I'm saying addressing it.
I'm saying that crossing out the mural of a black entertainer
Icon.
that is not a gang member and then calling it gang banging, that doesn't vibe with me.
Okay, who's considered the biggest media dude that's like Mexican, Hispanic, in Southern California?
I would in the street culture,
is it
our sector, like in our range.
I think Hoodstocks has the biggest Latino platform.
Okay,
but definitely American Cholo is growing. Dubs is growing. I think their voices are, even though their channels aren't as big as Hoodstocks, I think their voices are just as strong.
Oh well, I feel the people that got that you basically the voice or the face of that. That's your responsibility to address it in the same way you addressed it right now. You could have did that closer to when it came out and let people know it ain't racial. It's gang banging. You know what I'm saying?
How is it gang banging?
No. I'm not disputing whether it's gang banging. I'm saying I think them names you just named, that's their responsibility to address this type of thing, because y'all basically the face and the voice of y'all genre. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I believe it is their responsibility, but I also feel like there's a level of trepidation because they don't want to get any backlash from their own community saying, "Oh, you selling out."
Define trepidation for me.
Like reluctancy.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Like they don't want to show weakness.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want to be the ones to promote positive interactions with the other race. They want to pretty much dig their feet in the sand and say, "Hey, it is what it is. It's gangbanging. Accept it." You know.
And that might, those two people involved in defacing the mural, making that video, they could have one of them could have a black girlfriend. It might not be hatred for blacks. However, that is an activity or action that could definitely trigger racial tension. So that's why I think the bloggers, from my perspective of the Dubs, American Cholo, they are intelligent enough to know that can cause social issues in the community, whether that was your intentions or not.
Also, I believe that the street politics on the Latino side is a little bit strict, and sometimes they say things on camera that they won't say off they won't say off camera, and then what they say on camera are two different things. You know, they don't speak against certain things. It's not a good look when it comes to that, to those politics that come straight from the penitentiary. And I don't know how long this is going to exist, but hey, there was a time during this whole early internet where no Latinos from LA or no Southsiders were on the internet because of the politics. But little by little, they started popping up. They started appearing.
I get the perception from the general public that the majority, they try to say all, but I can't confirm or deny this, but they try to say the majority of the Latino participants on the internet are what they call dropouts.
To a certain degree, most of them are people that have, I guess, denounced the life, whether they dropped out in prison. American Cholo isn't, but American Cholo is a YA guy, so it's a little different, right?
Yeah, right.
It's a little different.
I wasn't thinking about anyone in particular. I just heard that about the general group, the consensus about the collective.
Yeah, most of them, I believe, are, but I haven't really got into figuring out
who is who,
who's the dropout, who's not the dropout. You know,
whomever the dropouts may be, your voice don't even matter.
Well, it depends, right?
No, I don't.
It depends on what they dropped out for, right?
You can't get your opinion on shit that involved bravado and you dropped out. Especially like who's scared of who? The blacks scared of the Mexicans and I don't know who the dropouts is.
No, we didn't get into that.
Go ahead.
That was one of Dubs. Dubs was reacting to a video where a black guy said that he was a guy from the feds, not from California prison. So the guy that did time in the feds, the black guy, he did a video basically saying, yeah, the Mexicans be running the show and we do be scared of them sometimes. And then Dubs played that as a way to prove a previous point I believe he had made in the past. But he was also very careful of saying, I don't agree with everything that this black guy's saying.
Running the show is one thing. the people who are not running the show being afraid of those that do run the show, that's two different things.
And plus, this guy was in the feds, Dubs was in the state, so it's two different institutions.
My experience in the state, they do be having a gang of juice. They be having shit moving.
Yeah.
For up top bot, whatever reason, can't speak to why or what. But fear, a black man being just afraid of the man that is not black, that doesn't really exist anywhere. I think anytime numbers become a situation where you have to be wise, if it comes to being survival, you have to be wise how you move. But as far as a black man being afraid of another man, I am not familiar with that. I've been out here all my life. I've been jailed with blacks. We've been outnumbered. We whisper, we talk, we plot, we plan. Fear is not something that never comes up.
They got the numbers. They the majority, and the Southern they got more structure. Mm-hmm. But the scared of that's that individual right there that was in the feds. I don't even know nothing about that dude. Maybe he was spooked. I don't know. It's a lot of people that you know what I'm saying, lay down in riots, Hispanics and blacks that don't even participate, be somewhere behind a bunch on a high. But to say the whole demographic is scared, that's out.
Even American Cholo, when I was on this program, I was asking him on this platform, I'm like, why is it that you guys have this understanding that y'all won't give a black man no fair fight? He told me it's because all our lives, for generations, we've had this complex about the big black guy that just intimidates and beats everybody up. So where did the fear come in if you guys are sticking together and doing all you can because you are fearful of the intimidating black guy? That's what American Cholo said.
And let me just break down some statistics here for the CDC. The CDC is 44% Latino inmate, and it's 28% black. So I don't know what yard, I don't even think, and it's been like this for the last 20 years. I don't know what yard where blacks are the majority.
There isn't.
Especially level 4 GP. Where are blacks the majority? We're talking about High Desert. We're talking about Pelican Bay only got one GP yard now. High Desert. Where else? I can't think of one yard in the entire 30 plus prison system where blacks would be the majority on the yard.
I think you're making this point about something you haven't mentioned on the podcast. I think we talked about it off the podcast. What was said? Why are you saying that? Who said what?
Well, I believe that saying the numbers is important because
I just referenced that.
Yeah.
A minute
you
ago.
said it?
Yeah, he said something about numbers.
Yeah, I said they the majority everywhere we
definitely
go.
are, but somebody, remember, on the other side said something about the blacks were deeper or something. That's what made you first.
I
right.
believe that Dubs did a reaction to the Pelican Bay riot of 2002 or 3, whatever year that was. And I think he alluded that there were more blacks there than you can see in the video.
But you said it's been like that for like the last 20 years.
It's been like that since like the late 90s.
But that's about the math, the last 20 years. So in 2002, there may have been a few more yards where we were deeper at that time. It's been 20 years now.
I don't think even back then.
But I'm just saying, you said yourself 20 years.
Yeah.
2002 is 22 years.
I could even look up the racial demographics for, previous years if there's people that believe that there was a time where in the last 20 years, blacks were the majority. And it's not being the majority in prison, it's being the majority on these yards.
No, just as a favor to you, for Alex, you said 20 years. Then you said 2002. That's 22 years ago.
Yeah.
So there, you feel me? It's outside of or it's within the possibility, even with your parameters.
I'm trying to see what year that Pelican Bay riot was. It was 2000. It was 2000.
That's 24 years.
Yeah. And even in 2000, blacks were not the majority in the CDC.
I remember having a riot in the 8 and Supermax in the 8,000 floor after 800 floor. After we left, we already had a riot like on one of the regular floors. The 800 floor is the smaller units, right? Mm-hmm. So it was medical. But I remember the numbers was what I could recall, something like this: 48 Mexicans, 16 blacks. It was something like that, bro. Back in the 90s, nigga. I don't even think it was the 2000s.
But you know what? I actually recall reading an article about this Pelican Bay riot where they broke down the racial statistics, and they said that the article actually said there were more Latinos on the yard than there were blacks.
I believe it.
So I'll dig that up. But yeah, this was in 2000, B facility at Pelican Bay. And I don't know how we ended up. We went from the mural to all of this.
No, I kind of derailed it because Dubs is a part of the conversation. I believe that came from him talking about blacks being scared of the Mexicans or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that shit crazy. But I think y'all the face of the Hispanic community when these type of conversations arrive. I think y'all should like address it, whether y'all agree or not. 'Cause just like y'all addressed it right now, y'all said it wasn't racial, and you know what I mean. Like speak on it. If you go have a microphone in front of you, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it turns to one type of man or group of people being afraid of any other group of people. Show me the version of one of those guys pumping fear into another one of those guys. Because obviously, if anything of that is even being discussed, it has something to do with other than this guy against that guy. It's something else involved. Show me where there's just this guy just scaring this guy. Where in life ever? When does that happen?
And I'm assuming both of these dudes been in prison before. Y'all ain't
One been in YA.
even better. That's
Yes,
better,
yes.
right? So the one been in YA.
Well, Dubs actually, they both been to YA, but Dubs did a long stretch in a state penitentiary.
No, all right. So more American Cholo. You a YA baby? It's more banging going on in YA. You got Hispanics, the Mexicans getting down with blacks there. So you know them T-Flax is racist, bro. They I believe the facing was gang motivated more so than racial, but you know that particular gang they own that. They're in K.
They are.
So you a YA baby, you in jail with them. I don't know if you was in Nellis, whatever, whatever. You know.
But to sit back and just act like, oh, what do you want me to say? I don't know nothing. We could say that when the Elote man get beat up. That's not gang related. That's not racially. That's a broke motherfucker looking at somebody that they see as vulnerable, and they trying to take advantage of somebody they feel like can't defend themselves. They don't care what race they are. Just happen to be a race. But pressure's been put on our people to respond and regulate these type of situations.
How you pronounce? You said what man?
Elote, the corn man.
Okay, but what about when the Hispanics robbed the Elote man?
That's what I'm saying.
Because it happens.
That's my point.
Or when they taxed them. Here's another thing that nobody wants to talk about. None of the Latino channels will talk about when different barrios tax the immigrants,
mom and pop stores,
and tax the paisas that are out there trying to make money for their family, because that's part of the program. And I'm gonna sit here and say that part of the program is foul. You know,
I'm not gonna cross politics and discuss what they do amongst themselves. I'm not gonna do that.
Just imagine a person selling whatever they're selling in a little cart on the corner of whatever street. You go to Alvarado and 6th Street, bro. They gotta pay.
I get what you're saying.
You know,
I get what you're saying, but I'm not finna dissect.
And life over there
that.
in the Pico Union area and the MacArthur Park section is already tough.
Okay.
You know.
All right. So not to dive into their politics, but just to like scratch the surface. So if the same the Pisces had a market in Smackdown in Inglewood and we taxed the Paisa,
is that racial?
Is it racial?
Right.
Or are we just getting our coins like y'all getting it?
Well, I know in some of my areas, I won't specify, along the east side, the coastline that I'm familiar with that y'all know, there's certain areas where I can attest to that Mexicans done popped up with gambling shacks recently, and the homies make them pay.
Oh, you're talking about the casitas.
Yeah, and they think they finna just do their thing. The homies push up and run they play just like they be running, and they respect it, and they break bread. East side.
Well, there's all kind of politics that going on. I don't know how often it crosses the racial line, as you just said, but that's interesting.
Definitely.
Basically, what you're saying is the Latinos have a casita in a black area, and everybody's making money.
Yep. If y'all gonna keep doing this, it's gonna go this way, and it's gonna go like that.
Yeah, they got them casitas everywhere.
I remember years ago when Freeway Ricky Ross was in prison, he told me that he owned this parking lot or this vacant lot. And I don't know if he wanted to sell it or find out what it was worth, but I used to do, basically some errands for him while he was in prison. And I went over there and I said, hey, there's some Mexican vendors selling tacos and doing their thing on this property. So he was like, we got to charge them. And I was like, bro, I'm not,
you didn't know how to get into that?
Nah, I'm not. I said, I can't get into that. But he was a little if I remember, this was years ago, but I do recall it was some Mexican vendors taking advantage of this vacant lot that belonged to Freeway Ricky Ross while he was in prison, and they was making money on his property.
He knew what he had.
Yeah.
Monopoly.
So I figured he got in touch with somebody else that pressed the line.
Sure.
You know?
Because he had a valid line. That wasn't even no gangster line.
Nah. You know, and he ain't claiming no gang.
Right, but he a gangster, though. Shout out to Ricky Ross, the real Rick Ross.
All right, I think I just want to lastly say that I didn't, y'all consider it banging. I kind of consider it not as much banging, more like we don't like this dude Kendrick Lamar's face on this property. And hey, we didn't even mention this. We mentioned this before. This is a Latino business. It was I don't remember if it was a Honduran restaurant. How much did that play a role? Where these youngsters see, like, why is this black man's face on this Latino restaurant?
We looking at that, but what if his baby mama just got to argument with him and she was bumping the Kendrick song when she left?
No. That's why he said, "Oh, that's our shit." I was saying that's their business. I'm saying because that's not their hood. So that make more sense when he said that's our shit.
Well, it was on Rosecrans, so I'm not sure what cross street, whose hood it is, but pretty much
all Rosecrans is there.
All Rosecrans is Pyrus.
At the little Tana pocket.
Yeah, except for that's going more east.
But I think that mural is in the Santanas.
Right by the freeway, right? It's right.
Not by the freeway. Like you cross the bridge.
Yeah, with that bridge. That's what I mean by that bridge.
Yeah, that's the Santanas. Yeah, so when he said that's our shit, he meant that's their business. Okay. So why y'all hitting up on y'all people's business, bro?
But hey, if the Latinos don't want to be critical of this action, all that does is just hurt the potential of black-brown unity.
Relations.
Yeah, it
definitely does.
Hey, but you got to include clout. It's the clout era. They record everything they do. I ain't never recorded nothing I did ever in life, but a music video. Like even the blacks do it. They do stupid shit like tag or I'm over here and record it. So you got to include clout in there too. He wants some recognition, or he wants the T-Flash to get it.
All right, let's move on to our final topic of the day. We cannot do an episode of Straight Politicking without talking about the biggest story in hip hop, and that is the fall of one of the biggest icons of hip hop in the last 3 decades, is Diddy. And I got a few updates on the P. Diddy situation. The first update that I will mention is that his bail was denied again a couple days ago. That's no surprise.
He had another bail hearing?
Yeah, he had a second bail hearing.
Did they up the number? Did he try to propose, offer more, or what was his terms?
No, they just denied him again. Let me read a little bit from this article from a day ago. It says, Sean Diddy Combs, American rapper, producer, record executive, will remain in federal custody ahead of his upcoming trial after being denied bail a second time. He faces charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution. Although the music mogul has pleaded not guilty to all charges against him, he may serve a sentence of up to life in prison. The article doesn't really go into the bail specifics. So I think it was just a short hearing where the judge just said, nah, I'm going to deny your bail. But I do believe at some point
they're going to let him out.
They're going to give him bail. I don't think you can just hold a man without bail. I mean, that's part of our Constitution says that we all deserve a bail. The only time we don't get bail is if you have multiple murder charges. Even if you're charged with murder, you get bail.
But what about the fact that they've saying since he's been raided in December, he's been actively involved in intimidating or attempting to coerce or influence witnesses? That's not enough.
They always say that. They got to be able to prove that.
Is intimidating witnesses one of the charges?
No, he's not charged with that.
So that shouldn't be.
If that's not going to be sufficient to hold him for a long term, how is it enough to hold him temporarily?
Well, they still have to have some more hearings. You're not going to get bail like immediately. Like with Keefe D. Keefe D had no bail when he first got arrested. They eventually granted him bail, but it took a couple months of the lawyers arguing. So his lawyers are going to argue this is not constitutional. He's not a flight risk. He is one of the most famous faces in hip hop. One of the most famous faces in entertainment. Where's my guy going to go? Where can he hide? There's nowhere where he can hide. We'll even forfeit his passport. We'll do this. We'll do that. And then at some point, the judge got to grant the bail.
Didn't they submit all those terms initially and on the second and third bail hearing?
I don't know. Unfortunately, they do not.
What would you assume that they would submit up until this point? What would they argue?
I don't know. They don't allow cameras in federal court, unfortunately. I wish that would change so we could hear what's going on, but federal court does not allow cameras ever, ever, ever.
What about the transcripts becoming public property after it's adjudicated? Is that the same?
The transcripts can become public
record.
Yeah, they become public record, but who's really getting the transcripts? You know, so I think Diddy will eventually get his bail, but as of now, this is the most time Diddy has ever served in custody. And what has it been, like 2-3 weeks?
Yeah. Do you believe that if he gets bail, the term of that bail will be the last of his freedom?
I don't think so.
What do you mean?
So you think he gonna beat it or not?
I've been back and
or he
forth.
gonna get out?
I've been back and forth. I thought he was done for. I don't really think he done for no more. You just gotta let everything unfold. You know, everything looked so bad in the beginning, and then I don't think.
It's deep because to me it don't look that bad on him,
Right.
as far as the actual thing. So if they're this invested, to me it seems like they committed to get him for shit that don't look that bad to us.
I want to know what's on the tapes versus baby oil. That's just not good evidence.
You know, they saying it's not baby oil in the bottles no more.
Yeah, somebody told me that.
Yeah.
But you cannot defend Diddy by saying, well, other people were doing it too.
No,
that's not a defense. Yeah, other people were doing it too and they didn't get caught. That's all that is. You know, hey, how many murderers don't get caught?
Yeah.
That don't mean, hey, I got caught for a murder. Hey, other people are doing it, so give me a break on this murder. No, that's not the way it works.
What made you say that? Somebody threw somebody under the bus?
A lot of people are saying that Diddy ain't the only one having freak parties.
Yep.
Other rappers was having freak parties. Why are we coming so hard on Diddy? The whole industry was doing this.
No,
you know?
no. They saying that because it was a what you want to call like an evolution of this. You had Uncle Luke doing the peep shows. You had the Freakniks out there.
Oh man,
you got Easy. He had the wedding reckless parties.
Luke
and now
Campbell.
he having freaks off.
Hey,
whatever you call it.
I thought Luke did the most freakiest parties.
Yeah, with that shit in the background.
He turned his parties into a TV show that was on cable. Girls was butt naked.
Yeah. Well, he was the first one with a advisory tag. Them or NWA. Was it Uncle Luke or NWA with the advisory on the records?
Yeah,
that's who started the shit.
Uncle
I
Luke.
never realized that.
Yeah, but I'm saying you seen the evolution of the peep shows, the Freakniks, the wedding. Well, I think the wedding wow show was first with Easy. Now the freak offs, but underage women, that's the first with him though. They trying to throw some underage thing in with Puffy. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy that they can even be that involved in Puffy business when they send little kids to do drag shows for grown-ups in the same country. This is a crazy country.
Well, it all started with Cassie. And when I believe Cassie wanted some money from Diddy without the lawsuit, and obviously she didn't get it. He didn't give it to her.
Dummy.
So she had to go through the court and make it a big public spectacle. That public spectacle caught the eyes of the federal government. The federal government sat down with Cassie, and then here we are now with this criminal indictment. And I guess Diddy didn't see what could possibly come from Cassie going public and making these allegations. And who knew that there was a video from several years ago of him beating the heck out of Cassie in the hallway of the hotel, which apparently was taken from his own property when they came there to seize his property, right?
This dumbass did a video.
Did he save that video?
What, you talking about from the hotel?
Yeah, from the hotel.
He bought it from the hotel for $50,000.
But the video became public, I believe, after the raids.
Right, like he kept it.
That means he kept it. Yeah. Bro, you're supposed to throw that out.
But then his dumbass.
He probably forgot he had it though.
He made it.
No, you're supposed to throw that out as soon as you get it. Destroy it as soon as you get it.
It's like the murder weapon. You don't keep
it. Yeah, that's the murder weapon. Destroy this,
bro.
ASAP.
You know? But for the tricks and then the hoochies that's gold diggers, getting flued out is against the law. Cause that's trafficking. Cause if you getting flued out to me and I'm a little trick and you ain't that human trafficking?
Well, I think it's human trafficking because Cassie was doing things against her will, right? And she was doing things under the influence of a drug that she didn't want to take.
And so
that becomes trafficking.
We can't look at this like from our perspective. We looking at the way the extent that the law can be bent and what they're trying to do to him. I don't think this got nothing to do with
It's not literal trafficking.
Yeah, it's not, bro.
Yeah, it's not literal trafficking. It is trafficking, loophole trafficking.
Yeah, there you go. Just like he's not a racketeer.
Yeah.
But he's done enough where it shapes enough where they can fit it into this format. Somebody else is mad at Diddy about something that had nothing to do with it.
And I heard a theory that came across that Dr. Omar that he explained a theory about Diego and
I heard that.
the liquor thing and all that. And you know what I'm saying? He did a little timeline on it and he make a lot of sense.
I heard that because Diddy thought that they was going they made his brand like a brand. He didn't like that. So he told a lot of their constituents, his constituents, not to fee-nuck with D-Nil.
And he done made a lot of money messing with these people and then turned around and sold them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Puffy did. And, you know, that's, you know.
Yeah, I think somebody pushed a button on Puffy to where it don't matter what he does. It's a wrap. That button has been pushed.
So that's a little conspiratorial.
Well, I mean, his son, Christian, is he's being accused of the same type of activity, bro. He has a lawsuit, and he has people accusing him of drugging and mishandling and being all the same similar stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Woo! You know who's scared right now? You know who's scared? Jay Prince Jr. He's scared.
He see the blueprint up.
Bro, because he got a reputation for stealing pussy.
Hey, we should all be scared.
No, not me.
When the federal listen, we should all be scared when the federal government can go 15 years into your past and dig up anything wrong you did and then create a loophole law to make that a federal crime. Because that's what they do.
Hey,
Right?
Hey, 48.
It's starting to appear that the feds got a friendly competition with each other and they want to take down rappers and they got all these rapper ricos. It sounds like all these different agencies, different states, they got friendly competitions. Oh, I got to do YSL. Oh, I'm about to do this. I'm about to do it. That's just what it's starting to seem like.
Hey, before you know it, the feds are going to start coming after podcast platforms and YouTube channels. What's the first YouTube channel going to get indicted?
Well, whether they get indicted or not, they already utilizing the content to indict other people and convict them. So that's where the podcasters got to be careful.
Yeah.
Nah, the interviewer got to be careful. You don't got to. Hey, the perfect person, the poster boy for how to shut your mouth is Pee Wee Longway. When he went on Vlad,
it didn't work for him though.
No. He got himself caught up on wiretap.
Okay.
He went on Vlad interview and you associated with the Crips, right? Blue a nice color.
Hey, here's a new rule. If you currently dabbling in the streets, you should do no public talking.
If you used to, don't even talk on that shit.
No, if it's the past, it's the past.
I mean,
you know?
Diddy did things in the past, and he can go 15 years back. You just said it.
Yeah, but the feds will go back 15 years. But I'm saying if you're specifically currently dabbling in the streets, you should not be on no platforms. Even because a lot of these rappers are doing both things. They got a foot over here, but they got a foot over there.
That's definitely true.
When you move completely into entertainment and to completely legitimize your business, then do your thing. Because then you become a target for the federal government.
I think rappers, successful black rap moguls and all that, they a target. And I think it's a competition within the feds.
Well, I think there's a lot of rappers that have successful careers without having the police on them. Like T.I.'s a good. I don't know why T.I. always come up, but T.I. shouldn't have been having a bunch of guns in his car. You already a successful rapper. Hire a security guard. Hire 2 dudes for security that are strapped, and you don't got to worry about buying Uzis and AKs and 9mm and 380s and whatever else you had.
Okay, they hell bent on Boosie though. Man, the state, they got the same exact evidence that the state had. They dropped it, but they want to drop it and come back. All this.
Yeah,
they got it out for rappers. I'm telling you.
Boosie, I believe, was unfairly targeted, but there's not a lot of people. There's not a lot of Boosies that are getting unfairly targeted. How many more Boosies can you mention? Most of these rappers that are getting caught up are doing dumb things.
You have to throw some names out there.
I'll say Boosie with that little video where he had the gun in his back pocket or in the small of his back.
Not wise.
You know, that kind of.
But in this line of work,
he got caught in somebody else's investigation.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been a prop, man.
Yeah.
Why they assume that? Like they just got it out for rappers.
But look at all the rappers that have done some dumb stuff that got caught up. I want to believe and I want to hope that the federal government is really targeting people they really think are active. You know,
They're not.
Boosie, definitely Boosie is one. I'll say y'all got. But the feds, y'all feds got it wrong on Boosie. Give bro a break. He ain't doing nothing. Let him go.
When you listen to Boosie speak on the Mouth Hoffa expert opinion, you might get an idea why they on Boosie ass currently. He was very arrogant and ignorant, and a lot of things he said about how he would react to legal situations. I don't even know why Matt Hoffa asked him certain questions, but I definitely don't know why Boosie answered them in the way he asked him. Like, yo, he took all this gangster shit, son. Word up, whoa, whoa. So you rolling around? You know you're rich. You say you keep it on you at all times. What happens if you get pulled over and you got it on you? And then Boosie proceeds to explain his plot plan that he has in place for somebody else to take the charges for him.
Okay, see, that's doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't wise.
Yeah, that's doing dumb stuff. All right, more Diddy news. He's been officially taken off of suicide watch as family visits him in what they're calling a hellhole NYC federal cell.
I don't want to hear that because it been a hellhole before he got there. So
yeah,
if they didn't fix it before Diddy got there, we don't give a
All right, let me read a couple lines from this. It says, Sean Combs appears to be settling in his hellhole prison digs. The disgrace, this comes from the Daily Beast, so the terminology and the verbiage is the writer from the Daily Beast. In fact, I'm going to shout out the writer, Josh Flallow. This is his words, not mine. The disgraced musician has been taken off of suicide watch and has been visiting with family who traveled to meet him inside the infamous Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. An attorney for Combs, who's 54, has insisted that his client was never actually suicidal, but was put, this is a typo in the article, but put on watch because it's standard for big name celebs who are taken into federal custody. Okay, I never heard that before.
Me neither. Not as far as the feds go.
Yeah, the New York facility, which is plagued by rampant violence, which Spider just said, and is known to have poor care for detainees, even by jail standards, will be Combs' home as he awaits trial after a judge denied him bail twice this month, which we just discussed.
I don't believe leaving was out was a typo either. I think it reads well without was. It's still correct English.
What part?
When he was like, but put.
Okay, I'll read that sentence again. Yeah. An attorney for Combs, who's 54, has insisted that his client was never actually suicidal, but was put on watch because
it said both.
It says
sorry.
But put was put.
Oh, my bad.
Okay,
you're right.
Okay, early reports suggested that Combs' first days behind bar. There's a lot of typos in this Daily Beast article, and Daily Beast is one of the top.
That's an official.
Yeah, this is a national reporting news website. But early reports suggest Combs' first days behind bar were hellish, with him potentially being so scared and paranoid that he'd avoid jail grub.
That's not that deep. They over sensationalized it.
Avoid jail grub, but walking to the chow hog.
Or just eating it.
I guess. Okay.
I go to county jail, but I don't eat for like 2 weeks.
I know.
I don't even want a dookie. I don't want to eat that.
And you lose like 10 pounds like that.
You so do. Oh,
yeah.
God, I don't want that.
Diddy's attorney, Mark and Agnifilo, this is the guy that you guys said wasn't doing a good job, labeled the article as BS. He told the Daily Beast in a statement last week that his client was doing quite well under the circumstances. So we get the point. He's off suicide watch, but really wasn't on suicide watch.
Right.
It's just a formality according to the federal prison. I don't know. But they did make a big deal about him being on suicide watch in the media. We were like, oh, shoot, did he really go and try to kill himself? But nah, it's a little inflated.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that. I don't know if I heard reports that it was standard because he was high profile and I just agreed with it, or if I thought of that myself. But I never thought he was really in there, and they assumed he did something that gave them indication he wanted to kill himself.
Hey, I just learned that whenever somebody mentions suicide or says suicide or talks suicide, you should never underestimate it. Because people who commit suicide for real, are people that you would not have thought have done it.
Why shouldn't that human being have that prerogative over their own life?
I would just say because it's sinful, first and foremost.
Biblical.
Yeah. God says you ain't supposed to commit no suicide. And also, you shouldn't have that right because what you put your family through when you kill yourself. Yeah.
That's a selfish act.
It is. It's an extremely selfish act because your family now has to go through the trauma of burying you, grieving for you, your kids. So yeah.
So why isn't it illegal? If you try and you don't succeed,
I know that is a great one. But hey, euthanasia is illegal though. When somebody else tries to help you commit suicide.
Oh yeah.
I remember Dr. Kevorkian.
Yeah, Dr. Death, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember being in a college class, a philosophy class, where the topic was euthanasia. Should it be legal or illegal? And we had to, our assignment was construct an argument for both sides.
That's a very healthy way to look at fucking subjects, bro. But I think the law has progressed. I think they have found ways where it has been accepted and understood.
I don't know if euthanasia is illegal in all 50 states.
It may be in another country, but I think there is assisted. There's a separate form of assisted releasing your own life. I think so.
Well, I remember when my uncle was had a stroke and he was in the hospital and he was pretty much non-responsive. He actually had a document that said, "I don't want to be on any machines."
What's that say?
Right? But my aunt told the hospital, let's just see if he can come out of it within the next day or two. After he didn't come out of it, then my aunt said, well, we have a document that says he doesn't want to go through this. But because my aunt initiated it, the document was no longer legally required for the hospital to abide by. You have to do it from the jump. So once my aunt said, let's see if a day or two will save him, that document becomes irrelevant now. You got to do it from the jump. At least this was in Puerto Rico, by the way. So I don't know. Definitely not speaking for the law in different states.
That's interesting. Just on the thought, I love you, Auntie Abby, my favorite auntie of the whole world. We just buried her last week. But when we got the call, she had been in the hospital for the better of 2 years, struggling with her health. But when my mother got the call to come down to the hospital in the middle of the night, she came and got me, and I rode with my two aunties to the hospital. And I remember when we got in the hospital in the room, they was pumping on my auntie like they was trying to revive her. And I did them like this, and they immediately stopped. As soon as I put my hand and after we left, me and my mama and my auntie, we agreed. We thought that was a performance. I think she was gone. And once they knew we entered, it looked like they was like just trying to show us. But as soon as I said, nah, don't do that, they stopped immediately.
Check this out. Euthanasia is illegal in all 50 states, but assisted suicide is legal in some states. It's assisted suicide is legal in California, Colorado, Oregon, Vermont, New Mexico, Maine, New Jersey, Hawaii, Washington,
California,
and DC. Yes, but the status of assisted suicide is disputed in Montana because I guess there's a thin line between assisted suicide and euthanasia.
Because now I'm curious as the difference between euthanasia and assisted suicide.
Yeah, there is a difference. And involuntary euthanasia is illegal in all 50 states. So
I guess euthanasia is what you consider just relieving someone of their living conditions.
Hey, what Dr. Kevorkian was doing I thought was assisted suicide, but they were calling it euthanasia.
Because suicide is self-decision. He's just relieving them of what he feels like they're suffering. So that's euthanasia. Oh, you're suffering, I'm going to relieve you. But attempted suicide is when the other person asks your assistance.
And I never heard of this term involuntary euthanasia, but
yeah, that's because I see you suffering and I want to relieve your suffering without you don't give me no permission. I just kill you because I don't want to see you suffer no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like what involuntary euthanasia is.
But he's not on suicide watch, y'all. Hey, Diddy gonna have to go through what everybody else has to go through when they're in custody facing trial. And hey, the food is not the best. Hey, I'm sure he got some money to some commissary to get.
Yeah, and whatever he don't have right now, he can get off the unit immediately.
And here's what's interesting. For those who've never been to jail, you can get candy bars if you want. You can get chips. You can even get milkshakes and cake in jail.
I'm just a new one to me.
You never got a milkshake?
Not a milkshake, okay.
No. But yeah, there's a lot of amenities, but it costs money. This is not part of the normal food you get served on your tray, right? Your tray just has what? A slice of bread, a main dish, maybe some mashed potatoes,
milk,
the fat food,
a carton of milk, right?
Fat food better than the steak, though.
That's what I hear.
Yeah,
what I hear. So shit.
What do you think about the fact his lawyers say he may take the stand?
Oh, Well, that's a whole nother topic that I'm not really prepared to talk about because it all depends on your criminal history and what you're there to defend.
What type of lawyer tells the world their strategy? He need to be fired. He's a stupid
Are you
idiot.
referring to the Costco baby oil comments?
No, to even tell the
Oh,
world
say he's
that
gonna
he's going to
take
take
the
the stand. You don't show your cards.
There might be some strategy behind that. Why he's saying that?
You feel like he should fight this case in the court of public opinion?
You have to because the feds are doing it, and the feds are doing it when they indict you and have a press conference. And here's the 15-page document. We're about to ship that to all the media outlets. They're doing the same thing.
But he's not doing a good job of painting them in a good light. He's doing a horrible job.
Well, it's too early for me to judge his attorney, and we don't even know if this is going to be the attorney.
Hold on, but why is the judge talking to TMZ talking about it's a Costco buy every house he got? He buy it in bulks or some shit.
He does come across less than professional to me.
No, that dude need to be fired. He need to be relieved.
A lot of his statements come across less than professional.
Well, he's the attorney right now, but he might not be the trial attorney. You know, Diddy's legal team is going to be like 4 or 5 attorneys.
But is this dude one of them dudes that you respect?
I haven't never even heard anything he said, so
I could tell.
I can't speak on him.
I could tell because that dude is horrible.
All right, I wanted to also discuss Shynes' comments regarding Diddy's indictment. Shynes has spoken about Diddy in the past since he's been out of prison and since he's been in Belize as a politician doing his thing. But this is the most vocal he's ever been about Diddy. So let's play this clip of the politician from Belize.
Shine Poe.
When I was a 18-year-old kid, just wanting to do nothing other than make my mother proud and make Belize proud and do what all of us want to do, be recognized for our talent and take over the world. I was defending him, and he turned around and called witnesses to testify against me, and he contributed. He pretty much sent me to prison. So that is the context by which you must always describe that relationship. Yes, I forgave, I moved on, but let us not pretend as if I was in Miami for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Well, I saw you spent a birthday with him on.
I
saw a birthday cake.
I went again to do a charity event for impoverished youth in London. So let us not lose sight of what the cold hard facts are. This was not someone who I vacationed with and who he and I enjoyed this great intimate relationship of brotherhood. This is someone who destroyed my life and who I forgave and who I moved on, and for the better interest of Belize, because he was in a position at that time to give scholarships and to maybe invest. I would not deny attempting to bring the investment to Belize and to bring the contributions to education to Belize, but don't distort it as if, he and I were bombale. This is someone that destroyed my life, but do I take any joy or any satisfaction with what he is going through? Absolutely not. I am different than maybe other people. No one needs to fail for me to succeed. No one needs to suffer for me.
At the height of your professional relationship.
Hey, the first thing that stood out to me on that Shyne comment was that in recent, I guess, months, weeks, years, he has accepted contributions from Diddy. And I read a report recently that a university has decided to give back $1 million that he had donated, that Diddy had donated to a university. And at some point, Shyne is going to have to give back all that money too as a politician. He don't have to, but it doesn't look good that you've accepted this type of donation as a politician.
But even when you get found guilty of a crime, you have to pay restitution. I think Diddy owes him restitution.
Yeah, I think the money didn't go to Shyne. It went to
even better. I'm not even
for the kids.
Yeah, I'm not even personally benefiting.
Yeah,
I don't think he should have to give anything back.
No, I agree that hey, when you make a donation, it's for that cause.
Yeah.
And if it's
you
to help
actually
kids,
owe me, bro.
Yeah.
You feel me? So if I'm not an enemy of your life trying to kill you, and I'm going to accept you trying to at least.
But it's considered dirty money now. That's the thing. When it's considered dirty money, and you use this money to help kids or to, provide housing and food, it doesn't sit right on people's conscience that you use this dirty money. So I could understand by people giving it back, but I'm not tripping if people don't want to give the money back. I wouldn't be tripping on this university that used that money for scholarships and let some kids come to school, but it's considered dirty money and you ain't supposed to accept it. But
I get that.
The way we grew up, there's no such thing as dirty money. Right. Money's money, right?
Right.
Money's money.
The most successful people we know, they got supported by money.
Hey man, the
Denzel Washington.
The Kennedys was bootleggers in the 20s and 30s, man. You want to talk about dirty money?
Come on, man. America was funded off the backs of slaves. All this shit is dirty.
And wait, what was the example you just said, Munch?
Denzel Washington.
Oh yeah, Denzel Washington. That movie Checkmates was produced by Harry O. Michael Harris with quote unquote dirty money. For one of the greatest actors
of all time.
I'm sure that he ain't losing his fan base, Denzel Washington.
Nah,
because he got put on with some dirty money. And a significant part of our economy. Let's keep it real. We have our economy above ground, and we got our underground economy, and they're both intertwined. Hey, you think them yacht manufacturers that sell those multi-million-dollar yachts ain't accepting dirty money?
Plenty of it.
Or on how many of those automobiles, exotic cars, have been sold with dirty money? And let me also tell you, New York City, all them skyscrapers in New York City were built with dirty money that the mafia controlled.
Miami, bro.
Miami too. Look, the mafia controlled the concrete, they controlled the glass, and they controlled another element of construction. They had all those unions.
So you think that's why your boy Eric Adams finds himself in hot water right now?
Hey, I haven't had enough time to look at Eric Adams, man. I'm surprised that they indicted him because I always looked at Eric Adams as a good guy. He was a cop for many years. He rose to the ranks in the NYPD, became the mayor, and now all of a sudden he's a criminal? That shit's crazy.
The perceptions of cops in general may be a little distorted, bro.
It is, but he has a stellar career as a cop, though. And it's hard to have in modern times, if you're a bad cop, you're getting exposed if you're in Los Angeles, New York, or Chicago. If you're in a big city, it's hard to be a dirty cop. And eventually, I don't think you can be a dirty cop for 10, 20 years and it don't come out in a big city.
I think if that were true, we would see a lot more cop exposure cases going on. I think it's a lot more dirty cops than we are aware of.
I think a lot of the dirty cops that get exposed are small town cops and even the big city cops, because it's hard to get away with it. It's hard to be a trafficker of guns, drugs as a cop and do that long term.
Long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just talked about Officer
Inglewood, huh?
Baca. Yeah, Inglewood. He got cracked trying to beat Training Day.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that he was like 20 years in when he got caught. Yeah. So yeah, but Eric Adams, I'm a little surprised. It's too early to judge that case.
You just brought him up earlier, then you got on that subject. That's what brought it to my mind.
But we kind of got sidetracked off of the Shyne clip. There was a few great points that Shyne brought up. This is the first time I've ever heard Shyne say, "This man ruined my life."
Yeah, do you find fault with anything he said?
Not really.
Me either.
Not really. But I'm surprised that he waited to this point. If I was Shyne, when I got out of the penitentiary and the first interview that someone asked me about Diddy, I would have been like, F Diddy. He ruined my life. He never threw Diddy under the bus.
I think he's been on a spiritual journey and maturing, and he finally has the wherewithal to know how to speak without having to think twice about his tongue.
I think also he, for the first time, feels more free to speak because he's in custody, which I think is like, you should have said this before he was in custody, And I think the general belief is that Shyne took this case for him.
Yeah, and I think if he spoke out more, then he would be incriminating Diddy. Now that Diddy's in jail, he might feel more comfortable speaking on it because I ain't got to worry about being the reason he go to jail. But
that's double jeopardy. He already did the time for it, though, so it ain't like, you know what I'm saying?
And Diddy was found not guilty, so he can never be charged I mean, he can get charged with something new that he wasn't charged with.
Oh, did he went to trial on that?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
That's why he said he had people come being witnesses against him, so he could kind of clean himself up. You know what I'm saying?
No shit.
But the woman that got shot in the face to this day,
I see her
believes that Diddy was a shooter.
She said she saw both of them pop.
But Shynes supposed to have shot in the air.
Yeah, and she say she's been offering to have her. She has fragments in her face that she would like to be removed and tested against the weapons.
Yeah, I'm not so sure how credible her story and her version is because it's been so long and she didn't always tell the same story. But I'm not going to hold that against her because sometimes it takes a year or two to realize, wait up, I remember seeing that dude in the corner of the club and he had this and he did that. Sometimes, you need self-reflection to figure out everything that happened.
That's not the case when we talking about Puff Daddy that's hopping in the camera every chance he get, talking about take that, take that, take that. You know who shot you. But I get what you're saying, but not in this case, though.
But I mean, we're talking about a dark club. We're talking about crowds of people, multiple people. How do you know who shot you,
Well, based on what she's saying, she saw the events take place. If she don't know who shot her, how does anybody else know that Shyne did anything illegal? The fact that anybody was a witness to it.
Hey, wouldn't that be crazy if Shyne ends up getting exonerated from that conviction?
That'd be deep.
But I don't know if even the New York City shooting at this club back in '99 is even on the table.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure.
I think that's just relative because it's a popular event, in the public. But I don't think that has. But I've learned that in a RICO, things come up just to show a pattern of behavior and involvement.
They do bring up some stuff. I'm not sure they're going to go back to '99 because that's 25 years ago.
5 years,
and I do believe that there's even though the feds can go back in time, I think the limit is either 10 or 12 years or 15, somewhere in there. I would be surprised if they go back 20. And in this case, if you're going to bring that up, you got to go back 25 years. Right. So I'm not sure. But the feds are clever. They might figure out a way to integrate this 1999 case. But yeah, he was fully acquitted of that, Munch.
Yeah, man.
And while he's getting acquitted, Shyne is getting found guilty.
And look how tables turn, man. I know out of everything, Shyne got to at least see the irony of like, damn, I'm out, I'm prominent, and he's in. That has to be at least some gratification for the young man, bro.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, and the last thing about the Diddy case I wanted to talk about is some new allegations about a high-profile person that apparently was involved in these, freak-offs? Is that what we calling them?
You care to guess who you think it is?
Well, let me play. We don't have a clip, but let me read this article. This is from People Magazine. Lawyer for Sean Combs' accuser claims she saw high-profile person featured in tape allegedly connected to Diddy. An attorney for one of Diddy's accusers, and the accuser. Let me see if the accuser's name. Yeah. For an accuser claims someone contacted her regarding an alleged pornographic tape featuring Combs and someone more high profile than the music mogul himself, who said she didn't appear to be an active participant in the videotaping. Ariel Mitchell Kidd, a lawyer representing a woman, claims she was sexually assaulted in 2018, revealed in a new interview with News Nation that she was separately contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of a pornographic tape featuring Combs, which she declined. And that's all I'll read about that. But dang, who's more high profile than Diddy? When you say high profile, more money? Diddy's considered a billionaire, right?
Yeah.
Are we talking about a male or a female?
I thought female, but if it's not female, then that's the only reason I can imagine someone being higher profile than Diddy.
It just says a pornographic tape featuring Combs and someone more high profile than the music mogul, who she said didn't appear to be an active participant. So we don't know who the participant is, a male or female, unless there might be some other reports.
I heard that lady actually say that with her mouth, and I may be wrong, but I believe she was alluding to it being a female. I can't recall, though.
Okay, so I have no idea. You know, a female billionaire, who? Oprah?
Yeah, Oprah's the only person that could come to mind. But I think if it was Oprah, there would be no way to contain the information.
Martha Stewart?
I doubt it.
I mean, Martha Stewart does hang out with
But I believe
Snoop
it has
Dogg.
to be somebody sexy.
I about to say we gotta think sexy.
Yeah.
We gotta go. You know what I'm saying? But who more? Who?
I think Halle Berry is the only person I could think of.
She's not more high profile.
Then Diddy?
Yeah.
No? Well, I couldn't imagine who he is then.
There's
Kardashian?
Jada Pinkett.
A Kardashian is more high pro. Yeah.
Or Jada Pinkett maybe?
Jada Pinkett freaky than a mother. No.
But I don't think that'd be such a scandal. Maybe. I don't know, bro. It blows my I can admit it's got me intrigued, bro. I don't really get caught up in who is never really my thing. But this shit kind of got me intrigued, bro.
Hey man, this Diddy case is gonna reveal so many things that supposed to stay secrets. And I'm a big proponent of this stuff. People's sexual history should be secret, you know, unless it's illegal.
Or if it's deceptive to the point where you representing you are like us, but you really like something else. I don't think I'm not keeping that secret if I find it out from nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you basically saying if somebody is actually bisexual, but they pretending like they're heterosexual.
No,
and I find out,
and you find out,
I'm not feeling obligated to keep your secret, bro.
A man trying to act like a woman.
Yeah, because there's a lot.
Or you dealing with the Duke shoot with boys, but you acting like you hetero. We find out you on the down low. Man, I'm not cool with that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of consequences that could happen when women are dealing with men they think are heterosexual, and they're not. Hey, I knew a girl that actually packed up her apartment, moved in with a dude, moved to Texas, lived with this guy, and she told me about a year and a half later, she found out the guy was gay. And she had kids from a previous relationship, and she had to move out. And I asked her, how'd you find this out? She said one day he sent her a picture. He texted a picture. You know, you text pictures back and forth with your partner. And she said there was a little logo imprinted on the bottom corner of the photo. So she went to look at what that logo was, and it was a gay website.
Wow.
And so she confronted him, why is this picture got a gay website logo on the bottom corner that you sent me? And that's what exposed it all.
Wow.
And he admitted to it?
I don't know
It
how.
sounded like he could have wiggled out of that.
She moved out. She packed.
Probably went on that site and got more and
she
found him on that site.
She was 100% convinced.
Yeah, once she saw the logo, she probably went to the site, saw his profile, and then approached him.
She was 100% convinced to the point where she moved out and packed her bags and came back to California.
Salute to her.
Yeah, salute to a real one.
And I know of that happening to 2 women. Similar story. So yeah, that's trauma for the female that got to go through that.
Definitely.
What is your reason for not wanting to maintain someone's secret when it comes to that? Why do you feel that needs to be out
if you gonna go and put some male dookie on the tip of your thing and go home and then might slide up in some punani that I might fuck on, yeah, you contaminating the waters, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the last of the Diddy updates that I have, man. We went a little over.
It's all right. We a whole week off, man. We had a week off. I guess we had to get it in, little extras.
Yeah, we got it in all right. And what is any things you want to update the people with? Munch, start with you.
Oh no, same old script. Just getting back to the content. We just chilling.
Yeah. Spider?
Black Box, Cliche 93, Cypher coming soon. I think we just got the last submissions, man. We gonna tie a knot in it. We're gonna do a film day soon, but we got all the verses, so stay tuned for the Cypher.
All righty. And I got some new interviews dropping on StreetTV real soon. Dang, I forgot which one I'm going to be dropping, but I got the Avalon Blue dropping right now, so tap in with the Avalon Blue. A lot of people didn't like the younger homie that's sitting next to him. I didn't realize there was going to be such a negative backlash to the little homie sitting next to him. But the interview itself is very informative because Avalon Blue goes way back to the history of Phi Tre Avalon. And don't forget that we are on all podcast platforms, iHeart, Spotify, and we're also on YouTube. You can listen to the audio of this on YouTube as well. And thanks for tapping in on another episode of Straight Politicking.